With the release of Enforcement, it's got everybody thinking about Arsenal Reloaded again. Today, I thought I'd come on here and just talk to you all about what's going on with that. If you at any point in this video find it helpful or decide that you do like it, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It helps a lot. I'll be talking to you about the start of the Arsenal Reloaded, different leaks, Q&As with developers, where Arsenal Reloaded is now, and gameplay from the game. The news of Arsenal Reloaded first came out on April 13th, 2022. It occurred during a Twitch stream with Zone 8 and Blue A, two of Role's developers, when being interviewed by the Twitch host called Goobers515. Zone 8 announces that they'll be revamping all of the game's code and implementing new practices to improve performance. It said that the massive change won't affect most game mechanisms, as they'll do their best to consist the old behaviour as much as possible. The UI, however, will change and run better for players. On the stream, the developers provided two images of the new UI for the game. Later on, after the stream, another developer called Crystal Flynn posted the photos and an extra one to the Arsenal Discord for people to see who never watched the stream. I'll put these on screen for you to see now. Three days after the live stream ended, a Trello was made. This is basically just a project management tool which they use to document the stages of development of Arsenal Reloaded. I'll leave a link to this in the description so you can see it for yourself. I'll put on screen now a checklist uploaded by the developers on what needs to be worked on for the game. Now, in 2024, we can see that 19 out of 21 things have been ticked off. According to the list, they only have 2 things left to do, but a possibility could be that they've completed it all and forgot to update it, as this is from 2023. But 2 days ago, from the time this video has been recorded, a developer called TC Cully posted in the Reloaded Progress channel on Discord with a gif of a tumbleweed. If you haven't already seen it, you should check out my last video of the coffee quest, as it shows you how to get the TC Cully TC Cube kill effect. In the Trello, we can see a whole load more concept UIs, and I'll cycle through all of those on screen now. The UIs show us they've revamped all of the start page for both PC and mobile, and because it's a concept, there's multiple different variations of layout. Some other things they've included are game browsers for comp servers, casual servers, 24/7 servers, and community servers. There's new locker designs, including a new section called trinkets, which by the looks of it are tokens which give you an in-game advantage. They've also moved the weapon skin to the actual weapon selection area, and you can customize where the skin appears on the gun. The store UI also has a new section called Archived and Bundles. The bundles you can buy for Robux. They give you skins and battle books together. The Archived section houses items from different periods of time in Arsenal history. We can see they have 2018 to 2023 archived items, Season 1 Reloaded, Season 2 Another Time, and Season 3 coming soon. In this photo we can actually see you'll have the ability to buy archived items for a currency called ciphers. We can see that legendary characters cost 100, epic characters cost 75, rare characters cost 50, and uncommon characters cost 25. Again, this is all concept, so it's not confirmed that this will actually be added to the game. If it is, I imagine it'll be really hard to get ciphers from gameplay, or you'll have to buy them for Robux. Lastly, we're shown that we'll actually be available to get a season pass for 1000 Robux, but we aren't shown anything that you'll be able to get inside or how it would work. I think possibly it would work like the Fortnite system, doing leveling up, and you'd be able to complete quests or contracts to gain XP. Sort of like the Galactic Pass that we have now in Arsenal, but like I said, we aren't shown much, so who knows. The game is definitely still being actively worked on, as last year people in the Discord were given access to a sample of a map to view how it looks early on. I myself did play the game and it was called the Woods Range. Looking at the game page now though, and I'll post a photo of it on screen so you can too. We can see it was updated 2 days ago, but it's private and renamed to Gun Range V2, so that's interesting to see. I'll show you now some photos of what the game looks like when I played it. After doing some more research, I found a very early look at the Battle Pass and what it might contain, with it being levels 1 to 100 just like I thought, so I'll put those on screen. We can see that normal, which is the free version, gives you items every now and again, but the premium version, which would be 1000 Robux, would give you an item or booster every single time you leveled up. If you look at the photo on the bottom right, like the right photo, you can see that every 5 levels you get given a crate, which I think is a great implement, and as soon as you hit 100, you get a choice of an unusual, seasonal being free, and exclusive being paid. If this was implemented into the game, I feel it would be a great addition, motivating more players to play, especially since if they were to buy it, they'd want to get their Robux worth. 10 months ago, developer Xone posted on Twitter saying he wanted to do a Q&A regarding Arsenal Reloaded. April 18th, 2023, he would upload a video on YouTube answering multiple questions regarding trading content, creating modes and anti-cheats, season length and more. A large section of his video was regarding updates on Reloaded, so I'll play you all the key bits from that now.
Now then, for the big part that everyone's been asking about for a long time, what's happening with Reloaded? Well, it's a complicated story, but stay with me, it has a good ending, I promise. About a year ago, me and Blue A were on the Prime Gaming livestream where we announced Reloaded. At this point in time, there was very little actually complete with the game, and we greatly underestimated the amount of time it would take to complete such an ambitious project. I'm really sorry about that, and I hope I can make it up to you guys soon with the upcoming details that I'm going to share. It ended up really ruining the hype as time went on, not to mention that the current version of Arsenal was left like near abandoned during the time frame that I was working on Reloaded, which also hurt the game. I made mistakes, I know that, and I'm sure you guys know that too. I've heard a lot about it. I'm going to get a bit personal here, honestly, but when the Reloaded playtest finally dropped and it had a ton of bugs and issues, it definitely took a toll on me, because I thought it was going to be, you know, pretty clear-cut, pretty good, but of course, nothing's ever as simple as that, and there was a ton of stuff that even through extensive internal testing, we just didn't discover at all. But yeah, this is something a lot of people can easily relate to, you know, when you make something and it doesn't meet expectations and kind of flops. I thought I was prepared for that situation, but I really wasn't. But it did take me long, and I bounced back. And now I'm going to go in even harder than before. Reloaded will meet expectations, and hopefully even exceed them. But how? What's going on with Reloaded? What's happening? Well, it's simple. I'm changing the way I'm going about Reloaded. You see, the way I went about it at first was completely rewrite the game from the ground up. Just a complete overhaul, brand new features and all sorts. And then eventually overwrite the main game with it, like a big update. But I only just realised the issues with this approach. 1. If there was a ton of critical things we misjudged and changed during development that players disliked, the launch would be terrible. There's nothing worse than something like that. In the same sense, dropping a ton of new features for people to navigate could be too overwhelming and alienate the current players of the game, potentially harming Arsenal as a whole. And that's not very good. And 2, I still needed to be able to work on current Arsenal. I'm the only programmer working on Reloaded and current Arsenal actively, meaning I have a lot to juggle at once. Constantly switching between 2 separate versions of the game is not easy, and so it meant that one version at a time could be neglected to focus on the other. With this information in mind, I realised there was really only one feasible way of completing Reloaded, which was continuing to work on live Arsenal and bringing Reloaded to life in the best way possible for players. It was to turn live Arsenal into Reloaded. Let me explain. Writing a whole game from scratch, especially with the scope of Arsenal and all of its little niche pieces, it takes a long time. And if your goal is to match the game as close as possible while improving the code base, there's always bound to be something you miss or implement incorrectly. It's like those houses that people buy that have seen better days. You know, they need a lot of work to get back into a livable state. But instead of just patching up the holes, replacing the windows or something like that, you just bulldoze the entire house and build a new one. In some cases, you know, you need to do that, but other times it's not really necessary. Arsenal was a case like this. It didn't need completely demolishing and building from the ground up. It just needed to be carefully fixed and have pieces of it repaired, restructured and made up to date. The goal for Arsenal Reloaded was to make the code easier to work with, thus making updates easier to create. The result of my first attempt did the opposite. It made updates even less frequent, and when it finally released, there were so many things that went wrong, weren't accounted for, and all that. So in short, I've refocused and found the ideal way to make Reloaded a reality. And here's the plan. I'm going to rewrite bits and pieces of Arsenal in chunks. Let's say something like the game mode system, weapon system, data system, and things like that. For the most part, it'll just be cleaning up code, but I'll also be fixing bugs, optimizing code, and reworking features to work even better. And here's the funny thing. I've actually already begun this process. A lot of the back-end server code has already gone through or is currently going through this process. The code system recently was revamped with the help of Castlers to utilize an external database. He's our database guy. Meaning there'll be no more issues of codes not existing in some servers due to data stores, codes having more copies than they should have, again due to data stores or anything like that. Nobody noticed this, and that's the point. For the most part, all I want to do is make the code run better and faster in a cleaner manner without changing the end result, meaning gameplay stays the same. We're adding in new features that change gameplay, user interface and all that of course, but a lot of stuff will remain the same. So yeah, there's a decent chunk of Arsenal that is already refactored, and nobody's noticed that Reloaded is already upon us. I'll be sharing more updates regarding this soon, alongside updating the Trello to keep people in the loop with what's happening. It's a really, really exciting time for Arsenal, and I can't wait to deliver on my previous promises, and exceed them wherever possible, really. Just to tease you regarding things I want to do when Reloaded is further down the line, or even completes. One, I want to expand Arsenal into something beyond gun game. Gun game's great, but it could do with a little bit more. My ideas are something like a battle royale or a zombies mode. There are definitely things we could pull off, though battle royale will definitely take a lot longer and require me to make more specialised code, but it's doable. 2. As mentioned earlier, implementing a build mode and allowing people to play on custom-made maps would be insane for the community. That, alongside custom modes and even limited modding support, would be incredibly fun to work on, but also open up countless opportunities for the community to create content even faster than we can. And potentially even have us implement it ourselves as official content. 3. The Season Pass. It's been teased and teased, but it will really bring a whole lot to the table. A whole ton of content to earn and unlock, finding out more game lore along the way with live events, game mechanics. It's all just going to be absolutely insane. And I really have high hopes that you guys will find it just as awesome as we do. And with that, I think that's it.
Just to summarise everything that was just said, he explains that the developers underestimated the amount of time that they'd have to get Reloaded up and running. This led to our current Arsenal being abandoned. He announced he intended to rewrite the game from the ground, but realised there were multiple issues with this approach. Releasing new features to Arsenal could be too overwhelming for the current players to navigate, and he still needed to work on normal Arsenal. Exonate is currently the only active programmer for both versions of the game. This means he has double the load of work and is constantly switching between the two. He knows everybody's looking forwards to and is waiting for Arsenal Reloaded, but he also knows that if he were to focus mainly on Arsenal Reloaded and not the current Arsenal, it would lose a big chunk of its players due to the lack of updates. Besides the issue with the coding the developers have been pulling through and even opened up alpha testing, I've actually found some gameplay footage to show you, so I'll play that now. The gameplay was recorded by a YouTuber under the name of Rooney, so I'll link his video in the description if you want to check it out, although I have just shown you the most important bits of it. Some people have been wondering what will happen to our data in Reloaded, if we'll keep or lose it, and it has been confirmed that we will keep it. This means we aren't going to lose any of our melees, emotes or skins, etc. It was confirmed that Arsenal Reloaded will have the same anti-cheat that the current one does, and although there is no way of just patching hackers, the anti-cheat actually does a really good job. It's estimated to ban around 40,000 exploiters per month, which is around one exploiter ban per minute, which is just insane. Occasionally you do get the odd exploiter who doesn't get banned by anti-cheat, and they may be banned by an actual moderator if reported via the Rolv report Discord server, or they could be banned by Purple Team if one happens to be in the server. They will always eventually be banned. Exone says he's introducing more radical anti-cheat measures to the game, and he's actually in the process of more upcoming measures which should catch a lot more exploiters. To quote him, he said, "It's not as simple as getting a better anti-cheat, but we wish it was." At the end of the day, yeah, it may have been annoying that we got a different game rather than the one we were all looking forward to getting, but it's not like they haven't been working on Arsenal 2. We've literally seen clear evidence that they have been, and although really busy, they still continue to provide us with updates for our regular Arsenal. This is the end of the video, so I'm just going to say again, if you found this video to be entertaining, or even if you learned something new, please do consider subscribing and liking. I put so much effort into these videos, spending hours researching, recording and editing, just to entertain you guys. Have a great night or day, and I'll see you in the next one.